Amarillo by morning, up from San Antone.
Everything that I got.
What's he got, Cullen?
Just what I got on.
That's right. You ever been to Amarillo? I've never been to Amarillo.
I've never been to Amarillo. Or at least, let me say, I don't remember going to Amarillo.
Like, maybe I've driven through it on the way to Colorado. I used to, like, drive to Colorado frequently, but I don't ever remember, like, stopping.
Why would you go to Colorado frequently?
Skiing.
Steamboat Springs?
I have been to Steamboat. I've been to a lot of places in Colorado for many reasons. What was I saying? Something about Amarillo. Never been to Amarillo.
You were singing a song.
Yeah. Good old George Strait. Can't go wrong with George. Texas, baby. All right. Welcome to Pints and Perspectives. You are back. We are back. We are here. And there's just two of us, not three of us. I'm Adam. That's Cullen. And hopefully you are ready to have just the best time of your life.
A grand old time.
Listening to us, two white guys, as we talk about beer and theology. If
it makes it any better, we did try to offset our whiteness by lots of degrees. So we at least have some kind of credibility to have this conversation.
Because education makes you less elitist and prejudiced. I don't know. It definitely gives you critical thinking skills. What are we drinking today, Cullen?
This is some stuff you brought.
Yes, it is some stuff I brought. Look,
I think some people would say it's quite a fitting beer for me.
It's called an arrogant bastard. Let me ask you a question, Cullen. Describe this can and art and marketing for me, please. As a beer drinker,
there's definitely some kind of like demon mammal creature being thing on it.
Demon mammal. Okay. Insert graphic. Okay, go ahead. Demon mammal. That's what I call my 7-year-old son. Just kidding. Love you, bud.
Yeah, he's like, it's definitely got some shadow to it. He has some horns coming off for sure. But a face more like a cat, like a bobcat or like a lion of some kind. And then I don't know what's going on with the scales across his nose.
Okay, what about the rest of the can art? Like, is it appealing to you? Do you like it? Tell us what colors you're looking at. What kind of
black
font?
and red. Black and red. It definitely looks very dark, mysterious, not like something you would want to partake of.
Oh, okay, interesting. And what brewer is it by?
I didn't look. Brewed and canned by Arrogant Consortia, Escondido, California, and Richmond, Virginia. Made in the USA.
Escondido's a great name.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Apparently, this is also a vegan beer.
What? Okay, here's the deal with this beer.
It says "Drink fresh, numbskull."
Yeah. So this beer has a long and storied past. It was originally produced by a brewing company called Stone Brewing, which we've done their most famous West Coast IPA, kind of like was the original West Coast IPA in the early 90s. And Stone Brewing basically like totally changed.
They also did the Enjoy By?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Stone basically like changed the brewing game in American beers in the 90s. And so they got really popular really quick, and all of their branding was, wait for it, drum roll please, demon mammals. Actually, the proper term for this creature is a gargoyle. I wonder if demon mammal is the first time a gargoyle has ever been described as such. But
a demon mammal.
The point is,
it could not be a better name.
When I was a Christian and started drinking beer, I would drink Stone IPA and the Stone line of beers because it had demons all over it, and I thought I was a really edgy,
really edgy out there Christian
fundamentalist, and
trigger
racist, colonizer,
patriarch.
Okay, so
piece of shit.
That one hurt.
Hey, we all are at some level. I'm shit trash people.
So here's the deal. So Stone got really popular, made a big splash, and so they started doing these extra cool beers. So Arrogant Bastard Ale was one of these cool beers that they did, and it's like a mix between a red ale and like a West Coast IPA, and it's somewhere
so it's like okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's unique.
Yeah, you can't. It doesn't fit within a category.
And so it got so popular. So back in the day when I was drinking these, when these first came to Houston, I was like, oh man, this is so good. Stone IPA, everything they do is really good. And so then they did these like double bastard ales, where they would, like a double IPA, but like mixed oak Arrogant Bastard, where they would oak it, right? And then they did a few other spinoffs.
So they ended up selling it off.
Okay, so here's the deal. So I didn't know any of this because I got out of the beer game for a while. So I saw an Arrogant Bastard Ale on the shelf at the store, and I was like, oh my gosh, we got to get this. I never see them anymore. And I sat down here to prepare for the episode, and I'm like, Stone Brewing Arrogant Bastard. It's not a thing. Doesn't exist. Apparently, this beer got very unpopular about 10 years ago, and they retired all of the spinoff lines associated with it and sold this specific beer off entirely and made like a totally different brewing company, which is called Arrogant Consortia, and they do like whiskey and Arrogant Bastard Ale. They still do Arrogant Bastard Ale, which so I did some reading on this, and apparently this
says hated by many, loved by few.
Yeah,
they just embraced it. I love it. That's how you be a bad boy brand.
Well, so apparently the Bad Boy brand only has the reason why it has survived after doing some research on the internet. This brand is like barely hanging on by a thread. And the only people who still this is in multiple blogs. The only people who still buy this are wait, where I want to
quote some.
I want to quote this blog and say if there are two main reasons why this iconic brand has outlived its usefulness and almost necessary discontinuing. Its marketing is extremely outdated, and its sales have proven to be dismal, despite old beer nerds still buying bottles of Arrogant Bastard at the grocery store as one-offs.
Here we are. We're right here. We're keeping you alive, you arrogant bastards.
When I read that like 10 minutes ago, I was like, oh, on the nose.
I'm an old-timey beer nerd. We're old-timey beer nerds buying beer at the grocery store.
But like
in single one-offs.
And apparently like all the branding was originally marketed to like millennial white guys who were just breaking into craft beer, which was why it originally appealed to me. And so, but it's a real, I think
Look at that head.
I think it's an incredible beer, and we're in for a great experience.
Look at that beer head. Oh
Also,
my God,
I read
it's vivacious.
Vivacious. That's beautiful. Gorgeous. Tell us about the color.
Oh, it's very dark. For as far as IPAs go, it's pretty dark.
Well, it's not an IPA.
Well, but you said it's like an IPA, but it's
not.
Also like a red.
It's an Arrogant Bastard Ale. It literally has no category. Like look.
No, I did. Yeah. I did. This is
it's thick, syrupy.
Yeah, I mean, look at that head.
7.2 alcohol by volume. We're doing it out of a 19.2 ounce can.
That's why we're splitting it.
I've had it on tap, and it's out of this world.
It looks great.
It smells like a double IPA. It smells very malty.
I don't think it smells like a double IPA at all.
Well, it didn't have a lot of hop aroma.
I think it smells like a red ale. Okay. It reminds me a lot of like an Irish red.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yours is definitely, no, it looks like it looks like an Irish red ale.
Very amber colored head. Yeah. Okay, drink it.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's been out of the fridge for a little while. This is good. Bitter AF. Low malt. Red ale bite. Hops coats the palate.
I'm a little frustrated. These arrogant bastards said that the IBU level is classified.
It's extremely high. Tell me, what's the...
That's what feels out of place in a red.
It's not a red ale.
It is a no. It is a red.
Nope.
That they hop.
Read the website.
No, I did. I know it's a mix between them. Or
look, it's hated by many, bro. Only loved by few. I happen to be a few.
I think it's quite good. Well, the IBUs are really high. I'm surprised you like it with as high as the IBUs are.
It's a nostalgic taste to me. I used to drink a lot of this back in the day when I was trying to be, there was a time in my life where like I was an actual beer nerd who was like, I only have beers over 70 IBUs at Gravity. And I used to be like super nerdy with that crap. And this was one of those beers I was like, this is something different and unique. And you're not this. So, and I thought it was still Stone IPA or still Stone Brewing. In fact, in an article I read about this, when this gets delivered to the grocery store, it comes from the Stone distributing company. It is delivered on the Stone delivery truck. But when it gets into the store, it has to be separated and put in opposite areas of Stone on the store shelf. It can't be next to the Stone beers. It has to be like over there with something else.
That's how the deal went down.
Yep.
That's how the deal went down. I see why it's struggling.
Why is it struggling? Tell me why it's struggling. You're a hophead. I figured you would love this.
I actually do think it's good. I don't think it's great. The problem with it is the hops ruin the amber. The red ale is a very delicate ale. Like, have you ever had Cullen's?
Oh, definitely. Love it.
That beer is a very delicate flavor profile. And when you blow it out of the water with like 65 or how many you think this is?
80.
Yeah. I struggle going that high with it, but yeah.
It's hoppy. It is bitter.
It's up there. It kills all that red. You really don't get much of that. It's beautiful to look at, but on the palate, there's not enough space for that red to have room. It's just the hops. That's really all you taste.
No, I disagree. I mean, I think there is really good malt notes.
Only on the front.
Yeah, well, I mean, the hops is what lingers, definitely. Is bitter. Hated by many. It is referred to as, there have been many nods to the Arrogant Bastard Ale, even outright attempts to copy it, but only one can ever embody the true nature of liquid arrogance. Hated by many and loved by few.
I gotta just be honest. The branding is gonna get some extra points from me.
You like the branding?
Well,
you millennial white guy beer nerd.
Well, no, it's not that. It's that I'm the arrogant bastard. I'm the one that nobody understands, and therefore I get made the villain. And so it fills a piece of me. But it's not my like quintessential beer. All right, score it. I'm struggling to score mine. I think I know.
I mean, I have emotional sentimentality to this beer and its line. The double oaked was one that they did at one point because they did a doubled and they did an oaked, and the doubled oaked was my favorite. They don't make them anymore apparently, because the hops was lower.
It could used to be a little lower.
So yeah, I mean, I would give it a 7. I'm gonna give it a 7.
I'm 7.2. It's 6.9 without the branding. 7.2 as the final.
It is a work of art, I have to say.
It is. Yeah, and it's just my flavor. I want more of that red in there. That's my only complaint. I want more of that red to shine through. This
is what Arrogant Bastard Brewing or Arrogant Consortia Brewing has to say to you. This is an aggressive beer, Cullen. You probably won't like it. It is quite doubtful that you have the taste or the sophistication to be able to appreciate an ale of this quality and depth. We at Arrogant Consortia to you, Cullen, would suggest that you stick to a safer and more familiar territory. Maybe something with a multi-million-dollar ad campaign aimed at convincing you it's made at an independent brewery somewhere in Texas, or one that implies that their tasteless seltzer, fizzy yellow beer, whatever the hell will give you more sex appeal, fill in the blank. Perhaps you think multi-million-dollar ad campaigns make that junk taste better. Perhaps you're mouthing your words. I don't know. Anyways, it goes on and on and on. The joke got buried in there somewhere.
Ha 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 ha.
Okay, what now? Arrogant Bastard Ale, everyone.
You have to tell me why you think you're a Christian.
Ooh.
This is, you know, by the title that we're talking about, moral influence, atonement theory or model. And this is the one that Adam subscribes to. So we're going to let Adam tell us why he thinks he's a Christian.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about atonement families first? Do you want
Ben did talk about atonement families. So if you want to understand the greater concept of atonement families, we're not going to redo it in this episode. You have to go watch the last episode with Ben Blackwell.
So the moral vision one.
The transforming vision?
Sorry. Thank you. Yes, moral influence theory falls within this, I guess, pedagogical categories. I mean, these all theology is made up. So this category of like the transforming vision family of soteriological categories.
Yeah.
So if I can throw out more theology phrases,
more made up words,
theology. And so. Cheers, friends. Crushable. Let's see how many I can throw in there.
Oh, it's definitely not crushable.
It's definitely not crushable, not alcohol wise or like palate friendly. It's just the hops is overwhelming, yo.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, so it's a part of the transforming vision family, which, according to the theologians, puts more emphasis on in the divine transaction that we might call salvation. In the soteriological, like the modus operandi of the soteriological, like how it works. This would put more emphasis on the human than on God. For example, moral influence theory, the human is transformed by a vision of certain things, which I'll get into here in a minute. That's on the human influence primary side. And then on the God emphasis side, you have like total determinism, where God like determines everything. Some like extreme version of Calvinism or something like that, or just average American Christianity these days, I guess, because nobody knows what the hell they think. So God's in control and storm the Capitol. Okay, enough of that soapbox. Well.
Great.
So I'm on this side of things because why am I still a Christian? Because I think I would articulate my theological position as atheist to agnostic, meaning I don't necessarily believe in a divine personality, such as a God. or even like a multiple gods, like some pantheist or not pantheist, what a polytheist idea, right? Like Hinduism or something like that. I don't necessarily believe in a person God, but I am open to the possibility that the concept of divinity or God, I'm open to the possibility that there is something out there that we, in our very finite, limited perspective and language models, refer to as divine or God, but perhaps it's just some like scientific process that we're too dumb to figure out yet or ever. Maybe it's like string theory. I don't know. The multiverse or whatnots, or like, dark matter, or I'm just throwing stuff against the wall right now. I don't think dark matter's God, or maybe it is. Do you know? I don't know. Nobody freaking knows, and that's the point. So that would make me an agnostic if I believe something is out there. But at the same time, I don't believe in a personhood of God, an independent agent of, or maybe I do. I don't know. So that's kind of atheist. But why am I still a Christian, you ask? Because if you look at the spectrum of putting more emphasis on the human participation in the sociological model or God, I don't have a God. Right. So if I'm going to stay on this Christian spectrum of how I am saved, or it's atonement theories, at-one-ment, there's all these different names that mean the exact same thing. My atonement theory, how I become one with God, is over here based on really me, not God, because I don't think God is something.
Yeah. So in that way, it's not really an atonement model for you because there's no salvific element involved in this. You're not being made alive in any kind of way, and there's no afterlife that you're participating in that you gain access to.
It's not salvific in an eternal. Wait, hold on, slow down. Yes, good point. I don't. My atonement model is not salvific in the sense that I need to be saved for some eternal dwelling place that is either torturous or utopian.
But you do think that you are brought into a deeper meaning of life or
Bingo.
something?
Right now, the only moment that is real is this current moment. And guess what? That moment is no longer real because it's in the past. So the only moment that's real is now this current moment. I don't know what heaven is, and neither do you. I don't know what happens after death, and neither do you. You have some theories that are based on some great anecdotes and research and all sorts of things.
Data points.
Sure.
Go back and watch the first episode with Ben Blackwell.
Sure, and that's fine. And you're entitled to that belief. I'm open to the possibility that string theory is God, right? We're all believing some things, right? We're all theologians, right? Everybody's a theologian. Whether you believe in a God or not, you still have some position on theology. Here's my point. My point is, I do still consider myself a Christian, and I do think the atonement model that I hold is salvific in the sense that it does. I don't like the word saved because it's very paternalistic and just like has all these colonization tones in my head. But I am restored to more full humanity, or an idealistic version of human existence in the ecosystem of nature. I think the way of Jesus, put this in simpler terms, I think Jesus gives us an incredible example and model of how to be a good citizen in a community, a person-to-person community, like a one-on-one relationship, but also like a more local, regional, and global community. I think Jesus really offers a lot of good insight into how one's morality could be shaped and practiced to benefit the community more than only one's self. And I find that deeply appealing. And maybe that is a privilege of being privileged, that I have the ability to forego some privilege to do that, just like Jesus. And so maybe that's only a function of those who have the privilege to lay it down to begin with. So maybe there's some like Christological things going on there for me personally as a white guy. But that is what I do. The work that I do serves Black and brown poor people, and I'm really proud of it. I wear it as a badge of honor. Call it my white guilt. I don't care. Fine, I have white guilt. Yes, I believe in systemic racism, and I should do what I can. I should not count myself equal with the norm or the privileged class. But laying down my privileged class, I attempt daily to humble myself to the point of serving those who don't have privilege and access. I think that's real Christian. So that atonement model that I just talked about in my own life would be like a moral influence. Jesus's morality and practice and life and words influence me and woo my heart.
Yeah. And
there you go.
This is why moral influence theory or moral influence atonement model hasn't been wholesale rejected by the church, but in the form that Adam packages it, we link it to a guy named Pelagius.
Yeah.
And it was outlawed by the church.
Yeah, he was definitely a heretic. He was definitely ruled a heretic by the all the folks.
And the reason that he was deemed heretical was, as Ben said, he wasn't wrong about everything.
Right.
Right? What the church said he was wrong about is that sin was a sickness rather than a death.
Yeah.
And the way Pelagius talked about it was one of the most common metaphors he used was sin was like a rock tied to a bird's ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you first tied the rock to the bird could not fly. But if the bird continued to have enough nutrients and continue to be fed and continue to try and grow strong, it could fly away with the rock.
Right.
Meaning that if sin is the rock, then the individual, the bird, the human, is capable of 100% dealing with sin all on their own. No need for any kind of outside influence like God or divinity of any kind to come in and help right this ship. Sin was a sickness that through hard work, discipline, and attempt could be overcome in its entirety by the human.
Works-based righteousness, perhaps,
Yep.
which is a version here. Also,
well, it's exactly what you're doing.
Also,
and exactly what you've communicated.
See, I make modifications. Okay,
But you don't, though, because you even dedicated your career to this.
Well, no, wait. I mean,
and that was the whole reason you were getting life.
I make modifications to like the theological underpinnings that Pelagian had. So, like, for example, let me give you an example. For example, Pelagius argued that the death of Jesus. So, like, this is what atonement theories are about. Like, what did Jesus's death do? You know, like what, for me, for him, whatever.
What's the efficacy of it? What does it?
Yeah, the salvific efficacy of Jesus' sacrifice. What is that? So Pelagius would say that it is famously stated that it is the greatest display of God's love for humanity, and it's like the ultimate refocusing of the human, transforming vision, the ultimate focusing of the vision of the human who is no longer focusing on God and other stuff. But okay, so I disagree with that. Yeah. I don't hold that at all. I don't think Jesus' sacrifice was the ultimate picture of love to woo humanity back. I disagree entirely. I mean, I think there are plenty of other things that he did with prostituted women and crippled individuals and all sorts of oppressed individuals that woos me far more than the fact that the government murdered him. You
mean all those miracles that he performed?
Sure, miracles
that you don't believe he did.
I mean, look, I believe Jesus did some stuff that blew some people's minds. Yep.
Like miracles?
I mean, sure, call them what you want if it makes you feel better.
So you think like he could touch somebody with lifelong boils all over their body and they just go away?
Like instantly, visually in front of them all at the moment? Like, man, he was really working with some hardcore essential oils, if that's true.
Yeah, so you don't believe in miracles?
I mean, we would have to get into a conversation about how we're defining miracles, but like a limb growing out.
Jesus definitely didn't raise Lazarus from the dead.
You know, I don't know. Do people come back from the dead? Maybe. I don't know.
I've never known somebody to come back from the dead.
It's also a story that you read in a big book of stories, isn't it? I mean, it feels really good that he wept over his friend and waited 3 days in the grave so he could make a point about his power.
I don't really know that it would be read and beloved by so many people if it was just a story. Boy, people get bored with that shit.
Old narrative theologian over here now arguing against narrative theology being a long-lasting...
no, that's not what I'm communicating.
Yeah, okay.
What I'm communicating is there are lots of people who have written great epics, tomes of literature that have great stories of miracles in them, and they're not near as popular and don't have large cult followings around them because they weren't real.
You hear that, Christians? He called you a large cult following.
Well, I didn't say all Christians are cult following.
Definitionally, aren't they?
But I guess that's true. The true like academic term for a cult, all of Christendom would fall into.
Yep. So
Trigger.
let me tell you about a few I've been a part of. There's plenty of stories to go around. So, okay. So anyways, so the other thing too that I would modify is like, I don't think I need to be saved from anything. I mean, because
you don't believe. Yeah. See, there's nothing to be saved from because you don't believe sin is like a problem or a death or anything like that.
I think human agency goes off the rails because life is really, really tragic and random. And so like we insulate ourselves in a lot of ways through power and corruption and oppression and all these different ways, but also through like technology and innovation. And like somebody invented a porcelain toilet to solve a problem. And that's really great. And we appreciate that very much. But you know, somebody invented, totalitarianism as well and so like all these different things, like there's bad things, there's good things. I think humans are just I think the species is trying to figure out how to survive the best way possible. And whether or not there's like some mystical battle being fought in some dimension that nobody can actually see or verify is stressful to me, and so I don't put a lot of credence in it anymore.
Well, I didn't say anything about that. I asked about miracles.
Well, I would just be like, there's like the spiritual plane, like these. I don't know. One time.
That's the beauty of a miracle is it's not about what's happening in spiritual.
Are there other
happening in our dimension?
Comment below if you at home armchair theologian listening or watching me right now, if you are kind of in the same place feeling like I'm feeling, where like, okay, maybe Pelagius was onto something, like maybe this moral influence theory, this transforming vision, atonement model, family, whatever, it resonates with you. Why and do you still consider yourself a Christian, and why? I would like to know if other people, because like I don't like, what do you need? Why do I need to worry about my sin? Because here's the other thing that Pelagius said, that God loves everyone. Like this is also based on like the scriptures, like God is love. So the ultimate act of love, God loves everyone. Everyone is invited into a relationship with God through his love. And the greatest picture of that love is Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection, right? So like, I believe that too. Like I believe that God is love and shows his love to everyone.
But you don't believe in God.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe God is love. Love is God. Maybe
like in some kind of like, just in some kind of like abstract concept.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like, if the God of the Bible is, if they are they, I am that I am, if they are they, if they are that they.
Yeah. If they are that they,
then I would imagine them to be all loving. See, this is going back to our omni problem.
If they be that they be.
If they be that they be. If. So I don't know. Yeah. So moral influence theory. Look, and here's the other thing. I'm really well trained in theology. Listen to all the words I've used. I didn't decide that I needed an atonement theory. I didn't decide that I needed, like when I started deconstructing and I left the pastorate and I left the church, I didn't go, okay, time to create a new atonement model for myself. Time to figure out.
Nobody does it that way.
Nobody does it that way, right? Even though I'm trained to do it that way. I could write, what do you want, 12,000 words by Friday? I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. But that's not what I did. What I did was I just lived my ever-loving life trying to get healthy from the trauma, trying to heal. And I have come to a place to where I have friends in my life who ask me questions
and beg you for years to be a co-host on a podcast.
Well, and I've just come to realize that this is the theological system I have. Does that make sense? I have read Pelagius. I know the models. I didn't like pick one and feel good about it. This is just like where I am, and it happens to fit within something someone said a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, and we should also say, I used to always say this, maybe I don't do a good job of reminding people about it anymore, but your faith is in constant state of evolution.
Yeah, or it should be. Right?
We joke all the time about, am I a heretic or is Adam a heretic? But the sad reality is, unless you live in a place like Ben, where you're paid your entire salary by an institution that requires you to be conservatively orthodox, it's impossible for everyone to have their entire theological system according to every church council that ever existed.
Cullen, what I hear you saying is everyone is a heretic.
At some level.
Yeah,
There's just we don't have all of the answers.
Right,
and
exactly.
These church councils are written in very specific times to deal with very specific problems within the church that are relating to much larger socio-political problems in the community of people.
Yep.
Much in the same way we see religion impacting socio-political issues today.
Yep.
It's the same stuff over and over and over again. And there's just no way for everybody to be orthodox. Like, nobody is 100% orthodox. I guarantee you, he would never say he's not. But Ben Blackwell is not 100% orthodox. He just finds really creative ways not to talk about the things that he doesn't believe according to orthodoxy. Because it's impossible.
Is the Pope 100% orthodox? I guess by the very...
He's hated by his own people out of the gate for loving gay people.
But does that make...
poor people.
But we're talking about orthodoxy...
And in
terms of like
doctrine?
Yeah, doctrinally. No, he's not, right? So is he... Is this why he sits on the throne of Peter? Is this why he is the Papa?
Maybe. Maybe.
Sorry, Catholic jokes.
All I'm trying to say is, because no one can be 100% orthodox, and because we are constantly in a state of evolution as we grow and learn and make mistakes and repent and move forward, ask forgiveness, try to right our wrongs and make amends, we grow, we learn, our worldview changes. Your theology, your theological systems, your divine thoughts, those change as you evolve as a human. So Adam sits here today. I guarantee you, we will probably still be sitting here in 10 years having these same conversations. Hopefully, the podcast will be a whole lot better by then.
We'll be a whole lot drunker. Sorry, just kidding.
Praise God. And maybe by that point, we'll look back and go, holy shit, I can't believe we put that on the internet back then.
I already feel that way about stuff we put out a year ago. Come on.
I feel that way sometimes before I've even released the video.
Yeah, right. It's like, oof. That's why we produce so much content, so you'll forget about what we said last week.
Hopefully we drown out bad stuff. That's right. Hopefully we just give you a sea of content that we can drown out.
You don't know what we said because we don't know what we said.
We don't remember.
Then, that's just honesty. Let's just be honest.
At that point in the episode.
Yeah. So what else do we want to say about this? What else do you want to know?
Is there anything ontological about it? This is the last question.
I mean, I think...
You got about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't... That's such a tough question because I just don't... I mean, I am...
Ontological is the fancy word for being or existence. Is there anything about your person that changes?
Well, what I was about to say was like, I don't know. The only change is like... I'm trying to think through, like, am I being influenced to just change my behaviors, or am I being influenced in such a way to where, like, something... Yeah, I guess, like, my worldview has changed. I guess
That's not ontological.
I mean, like, what... Yeah, exactly. So maybe no.
I mean, like, can you come down from a mountain like Moses from an encounter with God fucking glowing? Like, is there something ontological about your being that can change?
I mean... If my being can become more in tune with other beings, such as my neighbors and perhaps like the deer in the forest, as the deer panted, triggered. Yeah. Like, and maybe in that way, I become more one with other things in the natural space. Is that ontological change? I don't. Because I don't think so. Like, I'm not trying to, like, fit myself for eternity. So, And I believe in a lot of real corporeal reality. Because that's all we've got evidence for.
But you would certainly believe in energies from a human.
Believe in. I mean, like, sure, there's something there. Yeah, like, there is clearly some chemistry that occurs between two human beings that is sometimes sexual, sometimes happy, sometimes
Platonic,
celebratory, sometimes platonic, sometimes. Yeah, of course. Like, but what is that?
Maybe that's the answer to it all. Who the fuck knows about any of it?
None of y'all.
There ain't no answers to this stuff. We just try to honestly, sometimes I don't even know what we try to do here.
What we tried to do is come up with really good country songs. So if you've been to Amarillo, we'll send you out with this Amarillo by morning. Goodbye, everyone. See you on the next.
Thanks for listening to the Pints and Perspectives podcast hosted by WellHouse Church. Be sure to give us a rating and a review if you enjoyed the episode. It's free and it helps us immensely. Also, feel free to check out our other podcasts.